Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Right. So, So now I'm going to focusing on the software part, right? So as what we just now discussed, we have few things we need to be making sure of is first, we can actually use the zone function. Okay, let me draw it out. Okay, first you need to use a zone function. Okay, maybe you need to use a copy or you use mirror function. Then you have this modify associate zone function as well. Okay, so that we can actually have this segregation end result that what we wanted, right? So from here, I'm going to focusing on the software, which is right. So once again, I apologize on the temporary license part. Okay, as this morning the golden licensing for the temporary licensing part, the software is actually the system is actually down, and I'm unable to assign the license to every one of you. And also there are some password settings that might not be able to perform, right? So I'm going to do this, which is I'm going to record everything and then share you guys on the recording, explain to you on the operation, on how we actually deal with this intermediate these terraces slots of the project. Okay, then I will send an email. Okay, when the temporary license system is resumed back to normal. Okay, I will send an email with the license and with this recording as well, so that you can actually practice on your own when you're rewinding back on the video, right? So once again, I apologize on that inconvenience, right? So we can actually focus on for my screen here first, right? You can focus for my screen here. Okay, so from here, as you can see, okay, this is the project. Okay, this is the project type for the landed. We actually have the training materials and exercise. Okay, so I will also send you guys on the exercise as well. Don't worry about that, right? So from this exercise, as we can see, okay, from here, okay, we actually have a. Okay, let me just close off everything. Right, and this one. Right. So we actually have a drawing which actually indicating, okay, what is the types of the projects. This is actually a terraces houses, and we have first we have the end lot, intermediate lot, and also a corner lot of a project. Okay, so ideally, what are we going to do? Okay, so from here, the ideal part, we are going to do the model. Okay, we are going to do the model for each of the element for the end lot, for the intermediate, and also for the corner lots. Right. So some of you might use the separate file method, okay, to do it separately. Meaning to say, for this particular TAS file, I only look into this end lot. And then we have another TS file. I will only measure for this intermediate lot. And I have another file which is for the corner lot. Okay, so now let us try to use the function that I mentioned to you, okay, which is this zone, copy, mirror, and modify associate zone. How we can actually deal with this kind of the project. Okay, so as we know, first of all, if we have a drawing, we have a drawing in whole, we have few layout, right? We just need to split it. Okay, we need to split the drawing. Okay, so first of all, if we look closely in this particular drawing, okay, in this particular drawing, you will see there is actually a, okay, there is a combination part of it, okay, for this part of the wall. Okay, so bear in mind, later on when we use the function for the copy or mirror, this wall, when we duplicate it, okay, we cannot point in the same position. It will be, it identify actually there is overlapping. Okay, what we need to do is we need to separate out. Okay, we need to split it to another drawings for that particular corner lot. Right. So if you have this kind of the drawings, okay, you will need to, okay, say you will need to go to the split drawings, okay, go to the split drawings, and then you just left click and you drag on the drawings, and then you right click to confirm. This will be your corner lot, right? And then you double click on it, then you will see there is actually a corner lot of the project, right? So you will have a corner lot is being splitted. Okay, so once we split, okay, we have the axis grid line. Okay, so from this axis grid line, we know that I don't want it to be joined together. Okay, so you will need to relocate the drawing as per the axis grid as well. Okay, so I just relocate it. Okay, so that later when I do the model, okay, it won't be have overlapping for the part of the wall, right? So from here, first you have the drawing with the corner, intermediate, and end lot. Okay, so for not having this issue for the overlapping part for this particular part of the wall, okay, I split the drawing, okay, to become a corner lot. Okay, I have a corner lot, and then I relocate it to as per my axis grid line, CBA. Okay, so this is the first steps. So when you can see for the whole model, okay, if you can see for the whole model, I actually done modeling for my end lot. Okay, if you receive a drawing, okay, when you do the model and then you have your RC wall, for example, brick wall, column, slab, finishes, right? So if you have already plot for the end lot, okay, you plot for the end lot, then how are we going to make use for this end lot model and apply? I want to make use of this full model, and then I want to apply for the intermediate, and I want to apply for the corner lot. I don't want to draw it one by one again. Okay, I don't want to draw it one by one, the wall, the floor, okay, the slab. I don't want to draw it one by one. I want to use a function copy or mirror. Okay, how are we going to do that? Right? So, as I mentioned previously, right? So we actually have a few functions. Okay, we can actually go to this draw tab. Okay, go to the draw tab. Okay, as you can see, we actually have this mirror, and then we have a function of the copy. Okay, we have a copy function here, and also the mirror. Okay, it depends what are the things that we're going to use now, right? So as you can see, okay, if I off all the elements, left only for the axis grid, okay. So from here, if you can see from this left side, which is my end lot, and my intermediate lot is actually identical. Okay, so from here, if you can see from the layout for all the walls, all the openings, right, all the windows, exactly the same. I can use a copy function to copy the whole model. Okay, copy the whole model entity here, and then I paste to here. So I will have a full model for it. Right? So let's do together. Okay, I open everything. Right. So first of all, if you want to select, you are unable to select the other elements, right? Okay, it will be quite troublesome for you. I would suggest to use this batch. Okay, you can click on the batch and then you select everything. Okay, you select everything. Okay, and then click on OK. So everything is being selected, including for the finishes, including for the wall, for the entities, for the slabs, right? Once you select everything, okay, the next thing you need to do is you just click on the copy. Click on it. Right, I need to specify my start point. Okay, so from here, I can actually see that I can actually locate this particular 1A intersection, and with this point, okay, I want to copy. I'm select the start point, left click, and then I move my cursor, I zoom out, I move my cursor, and you will see there is a the whole entity is actually being copied together also. So I just click on it, left click, and then I right click to exit. So from here you will see the full model is being, the full end lot, okay, is being copied to the intermediate lot. Okay, the end lot is actually being copied to the intermediate lot. Right, so in this case, okay, as we know that the end lot and intermediate lot is actually in this scenario. This is the end lot, and then we have the intermediate, okay, intermediate, and also we have the corner lot. Right, so this is my end lot, this is my intermediate, and this is my corner lot. Right, so in this case, so with that, I'm involving for the batch function. Just now the batch function, and then I copy everything to locate to the intermediate lot. Okay, is every one of you can let me know, is my model complete? Yes or no, perhaps? Okay, let me know if you think that my model for the intermediate lot is already complete. Okay, reply me a yes. If you think my model is still not complete, okay, I still need to do some adjustment, reply me a no. Okay, let me know that. Okay, whether your thoughts is a yes or no for that. Right? If you say no, how about others? Okay, others maybe yes or no. Right? Okay, so if you look closely, okay, I would agree with Adria as well. Okay, as you can see, as we know that the concept of the end lot, intermediate lot, right, it will be actually attached together. Right, it's actually this wall, okay, it's actually attached together. Okay, one moment. Okay, this wall is actually attached together. And impossible, I will have the finishes for this. Okay, I don't have the external finishes for this particular wall. And I don't have a window opening for this particular wall. Right. So in this case, we know that there are some things that we need to do some modification, even though I just straight away copy. Right. So if you didn't check properly, you didn't do the modification, we will be lacking off for the wall concrete volume. Okay. And I will have some additional external finishes that I do not want. Right. So from here, how we can do it? Okay. We just we click to the 3D. Okay, click to the 3D. I will open the cross element select, and then I just select the whole piece of the entities. Okay, let me just open this one. Okay, I select, okay, it will be whole piece of the entities. They will be our external wall finishes. Okay, I just press delete to delete the finishes of it. Right? And I select for the opening, press delete, okay, to delete the wall, okay, the window as well, the wall opening. Okay, and also for the column, also I do not need these finishes because there will be a duplication. Okay, I also just select and then I click on delete. Okay, now you can see. So this will be the full wall. Okay, from the left side. For the right side also there is a full wall without the opening. Right. So in this case, we are then consider this particular shed wall is being, okay, complete. Right, it's being complete. And also, remember when I said on the shed portion, whether you have the column, you shed it, or you have the wall, you shed, you need to remark it as a shed element. Okay, so from here, in this 3D, you actually just click on the wall, okay, the structural wall, W8. Right, so for the shed portion, the quantity will be full or half. Right, in this case, the shed portion, particular for this wall, it will be in full when we take the quantity. Right. So there are some adjustment we need to do it. Right. So from here, let's say this W8 structural wall. Okay. We're going to go for the remarks. Okay. You need to put as a shed. Okay. For this particular wall. Okay. For this particular wall, I need to put the remark as a shed. Also, I need to put for this particular wall as well, it's also a shed. So later on when we get the quantity, we know that it's actually a shed, and then we need to divide by 2. Okay, we need to divide by 2. Right? So from here, as you can see, another part, which is this particular wall. Okay, similarly, the remarks, I need to put it as a shed as well. Yeah, for the collar and beam as well, right? So column, yes, and also beam also, right? For all the element, if you have this all shed, you need to put the remarks as a shed, right? Put the remark as a shed. So later on, when we get the quantity, we actually can classify it as the remarks, and then we can see which one is the full, which one is a shed one. So for the shed, the quantity you will need to divide by 2, right? Okay, so from here, okay, this external wall, similarly, is actually a shed. Okay, this is also a shed one. Okay, for the external, for another part, this one, let me check. Okay, this one is also shed. This will be also a shed. Okay, so remember, because our remarks is actually our private attribute, okay, in different color of the font. Okay, we need to select the entity first, only we change the information in the remarks column, right? So from here, okay, we check again for the 3D. Okay, so we know that the window opening is being eliminated, the external wall finishes are also being eliminated, and the wall is actually having the remarks shed. Also, this particular brick wall is also being shed. Right? So from here, we consider done for this particular portion. Okay, we done for this particular portion for the intermediate. Okay, next say, okay, we focusing on another part, which is our corner lot. Okay, let me close everything, as you see. So from here, okay, so from this lot, okay, this end lot and intermediate lot, we actually use the copy function, right? We use the copy function. Okay, so from here, if you can determine for the intermediate and also the corner lot, if you see from the layout, it's actually a mirror from the intermediate. Okay, meaning to say I can actually use the function for the mirror to mirror the intermediate for the corner lot. Okay, I can actually use the mirror function by not using the copy. Okay, so you can actually use this. You can actually use this function. You can use the mirror function to mirror it up. Right? Okay, we have a question. How to check whether your remark shed is selected for all? Right, so for in this case, okay, say, let me open back my entities. Okay, so in this case, we need to locate back what are the elements that we actually need to input the sheds, right? So say, if we select for this particular intersection, okay, whatever information is not uniform, for example, we actually have a RC wall and external wall, brick wall. So all the information category is actually in question marks, except for those information that is actually uniform, is identical for every entities, it will be put as a shed as well. So let's say just now I already tick for these 3 pieces of entities, and you will see there's a remark as the shed. So we know that the element that involved is wall, okay, and also beam and also column. Okay, so we can actually select all the entities and then you check on these remarks. If there is a question marks, then there will be something wrong. Okay, you can actually you will need to find back on that particular entities to put it back as a shed. Okay, you need to put that back as a shed. Right, so have to select one by one, cannot like batch selects. Yeah, so for this one, you will need to select one by one, because if you select for the batch, right? If you select for the batch, okay, let's select for the batch, let's say wall. As you can see, the wall is not only particularly for this portion, okay, for this portion. Okay, it will be have walls for the middle and for the another side. Okay, so if you want to use the batch select, also can be done, meaning to say, when you first model it up for the very first beginning end lot here, your RC wall here, you will need to put it, for example, you need to put it as a shared RC wall straight away for the name. Okay, then you can actually use the batch select to select the name of the wall. That one you can be done. Right, so for this model that I did here is I didn't put my wall, the RC wall name as a shared RC wall for the name. Okay, so I will need to select it one by one for the attached one. Okay, for the attached element. Okay, because our batch select, it will only be able to call off for the name for the entities, right? So if you want to batch select, at the very beginning, when you do the model, you know that there is actually a shared item. You can actually put it as in our name. Okay. So from here, right, as I mentioned, I'm going to use the mirror function to mirror it to the corner lot. Okay, to the corner lot. Okay, so for the corner, okay, if you can see just now, why I want to split and also I relocate it to another part for the axis grid. Okay, it's because say I'm still using the very beginning drawings, okay, and I select the whole things, okay, and I select the whole things and I use the mirror function. I use this mirror function and I select the first point, and then say I select the second point here. Okay, you will see it will be an prompt that saying that the wall is actually cannot overlap with the other wall. Okay, in this case, okay, that's the reason why we need to split the drawing and then we just relocate to another side of it. Okay, we just split to another side of it. So from here, I double click on my corner lot. Okay, so from here I can actually select everything, and I use the mirror function to mirror it, okay, exactly at the same location for this layout. Right, exactly the same location for this layout. Okay, so from here, I open my cross element select. Okay, I left click, I drag for the whole model. Okay, then I use the mirror function. Okay, I use this mirror function. Okay, I know that the distance between these two, okay, I can just left click on here, okay, and the middle here, and then I left click another point here. Okay, it will ask, do you want to delete the original entities? Right, it will be no, because if I delete, okay, the intermediate, it will be gone for the model. Right, so with that, as you can see, you have the information is being, okay, the model is being mirror it, okay, accordingly. So from here, this structural wall, similarly, we need to be very sure it's actually a shared one, correct? And this external wall as well is actually a shared. Okay, so I'm not going to change it accordingly for the ground beams we have here. So from here, as you can see, these are the things that we actually mirror it. Okay, so once we mirror it, there are a few things we need to check again. Okay, so as you can see from the drawing, okay, as you can see from the drawing, right? There is actually opening for the window, okay, for this corner lot. Actually have an opening for the window indication. Okay, if you see from the 3D, there will be no window opening for this particular wall, and also there is no. Okay, in this case, we need to have our window, and then we need to have our external finishes, right? Because this will be our corner lot. Okay, in this case, we didn't have any, okay, because we mirror it to here, right? So from here, there are some other modifications you need to make sure. Okay, you need to plot it out, right? So in this case, you can just easily back to the 2D, and then you see this actually my WC2. Okay, be back to my door window. Okay, you will see WC2, and then you just point it back. Okay, and then you just point it back. Okay, you will have your window back, and also the external finishes. You need to see what are the external finishes. For example, wall finishes. Okay, and then I just point it. Okay, you just point it. Right. So from here, for this one WC1, okay, go back to this window, WC1. And another one, which is this one. So when you see your 3D, there is only the proper model that what we want. So from here, right? Which would you recommend to use the remark shed better or to create a new element named the shed wall? Right. So in this case, Adriel, I would recommend to use the remarks for the sheds because what I say so, to use the remark shed, okay, to use the remarks is because when you use the remarks, you will need to see it closely for the element. Okay, so for the entities, for example, this, let's say you have a wall. Okay, you know that the logical way is that there's actually attached. Then you know that you will need to make sure this is actually a shed. It's actually quite kind of a human approach for double confirm whatever things that I not rely 100% on the software, right? So meaning to say software, yes, it actually help us to generate our model entities, and in fact, if we didn't have a logical way of the analyzing whether the model is correct or not, it will be quite dangerous for us to come out the quantity, right? So I would prefer, personally, I would prefer you model it out. Okay, the wall still remain at the name without the shared item, right? Then, based on our logical way, okay, we know that this wall is attached, and this particular wall and this external wall is actually being shared, so that we can actually select it, and then we change the remarks to become a shed. Okay, we change the remarks to become a shed. Okay, so we know that first we know that the element, okay, and the conceptual is actually correct, that it's actually a shed, right? So if we just put it as a name, if we just put it as a name, also can be done, but I would not that recommend because as I said, the remarks part is actually as an additional shield for you to know that your model is actually in a good manner or not, right? Okay, so from here, if you can see from our model, we actually already have for this for the intermediate end lot and also the corner lot. Okay, so from here, let me try to calculate the quantity. Okay, I calculate the quantity as you can see. When we go to the report, when I go to the report and I click on the report, for example, for wall. Okay, for example, for wall, then you will see there's actually a shed, and also there's actually a shed for intermediate. This is the things that just now I didn't standardize it correctly. So we need to standardize perhaps this shed and also shed for intermediate to standardize correctly to get the quantity inaccurate, right? So there you have the intermediate, corner, and also the end lot. And I forget to do one thing, which is the zone. Okay, you can see this zone. I open it up. Okay, and I move it up. Okay, to let you guys see. So as you can see here, currently, whatever model that I model, okay, I use the copy, I use the mirror, I change the modification, right? As you can see here, I have my end lot, intermediate lot, and corner lot. I presume I already done for all the model. In fact, yes, you already done for the model. Okay, you've done for the model, but you will ask me, Sam, what is the reason when I open the zone, okay, for the wall especially, I have the shed wall, okay, I have the wall for the intermediate, for corner and end lots. Why there is only one zone and lot? Okay, in fact, I already modeled for the intermediate and corner lot. What are the things that actually I miss out? Okay, what are the things I miss out, and then how can I do it? Right? Still remember on the project settings. Okay, so currently as you see, for the whole model, in our navigation tab, we're actually in our end lot. Okay, we're actually in our end lot. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to create for the corner lot, going to create for the intermediate lot. Okay, then I'm going to move the whole intermediate lot to the intermediate lot zone. And I'm going to move the whole corner lot to the corner lot zone. Okay, so later on when I get the quantity, it will not be in only end lot zone. Right, so how we can do that? So to create a zone, okay, to create a zone, the things that we can do is we go to the project settings. In the pro settings here, okay, by default, there's a zone 1 and also end lot here. Okay, as you can see here, right? So to create a zone, you can actually easily click on the add. Okay, but I would recommend you to just right click at the end lot and we click on copy. Okay, and then we click on copy. Right, the reason why is because let's say you have settings, you have changed all the settings, for example, grade 35. Say example, everyone look carefully. Say if you already have do the grade settings and you create a new zone, and then you will see all the grade settings is actually back to default. Okay, if you click on the add. If you want to remain your grade settings and your floor settings, right, and your floor levels, right, I will recommend you to right click, copy, and then right click to paste. And then when I paste the zone 2, you will see the differences. When I use copy paste, and my zone 2, the grade setting is actually as per what I set in my end lot. Right? So again, if I click on the zone 2, I click on an add new, the grade setting is back to default as per the system software default. Okay, so recommend everyone at the end lot, right click, copy, okay, and then you paste, and then you paste one more. So I have end lot, I have intermediate lot, and I have one more, which is my corner lot. Okay, so I have this end lot, intermediate lot, and corner lot. And for this particular zone 1, I just remain. Okay, so you can see end lot, intermediate, and corner lot. So I already have this zone, right? Okay, I back to the draw. Say I calculate again. Okay, click on OK. Right. In the quantity tab, let us check back again to make sure everything is correct. Okay, so you can see I'm back to the wall and my zone, right? So you will see the quantity is still the same. Okay, the quantity it didn't segregate out for the end lot, even though just now my model, okay, I have my model and I create my zone. Okay, I already create my zone. Okay, why the quantity is still didn't segregate as what I want, right? So here comes, okay, another function. This is the very crucial function, okay, to have this segregation. Okay, now our model, our entity is actually in our end lot, and I just created the other lot, the intermediate and corner lot zone. Okay, I'm going to use a function is what we call, normally is quite hidden. Okay, this function is quite hidden for everyone because you wouldn't find directly. Okay, so that function is what we call it as a modified associate zone, right? You can actually at the draw tab at any other element. Okay, you will see there's advanced. So in the advanced, you left click. Okay, you drop down the advanced. In the drop down list, you will have this modified associate zone. Okay, so from here, just now I have this end lot, intermediate lot, and my corner lot zone. Okay, what I'm talking about is all the zone, right? Just now I create. Okay, and originally, all these three model is actually in my end lot. Okay, end lot zone. What I need to do is I need to click on this modify associate zone to modify the whole model to intermediate lot zone. Similar case, I'm going to modify associate the whole zone, the whole model for this corner lot to the corner lot zone. Okay, then later we calculate back again to see whether do I get the quantity in the segregation format. Right? So, okay, I'm back to 2D perhaps. Right? In the advanced settings, I click on this modify associate zone. It will ask you in the status bar, select the entity to modify zone. Okay, I just left click and I drag the whole thing for the intermediate. Okay, as you can see, select the whole thing. And then I need to right click to confirm. Once I click on right click to confirm, okay, you will see, it will ask you to select a floor in the target zone. Okay, so I'm going to select this as an intermediate lot. And this is my ground floor. Okay, I just put it as a default. Okay, select the target zone. Okay, the target zone, this is my intermediate, right? Okay, I need to select this intermediate lot and I click on OK. Right, so one more time, emphasize again, modify associate zone, the function is, okay, the function is, let's say you have a zone A, zone 1, and you have a zone 2. Okay, you have zone 1 and zone 2. Okay, you have the model here. Okay, the whole combination model. If you want to use this modify associate zone, means it will be moving these three entities to the zone 2. Okay, so from this zone 1 you will have 2 model. For this zone 2 you have 3 model. Okay, this is a function. It's a function of move. In fact, it's a move. It's not a copy. It's move functions. Okay, and you will see there is whatever you see when you move it, okay, to another, to modify associate zone, you will see the entity is actually not in solid color. It will be in opaque color, which is a kind of transparency. Okay, the transparency percentage is high. Okay, it's not in the full complete solid mode, solid color. So if you can see, so you will see the differences compared to the end lot and also the intermediate lot now. Okay, it's actually in the opaque. Okay, it's actually in a hidden opaque color. Right, so we're done for the intermediate. Let's move to the corner lot. Right, we focus on the corner lot. Similar case at the draw tab. Okay, at the draw tab here, use this modify associate zone, you copy the whole thing to move it to the corner lot zone. Right? Draw tab, modify associate zone. Okay, I select the whole model for this corner lot and I right click to confirm. Select the target floor. Okay, select the target floor. I'm going to select for the corner lot. Yeah, if I select on the intermediate, I don't have the corner lot quantity. Okay, select on the corner lot, remaining as a ground floor, and then we click on OK. Right, so it will also become to a opaque style. Okay, let me close the drawing. It will quite troublesome to view. So you will see you will have this. Okay, the model is being moved from the end lot to the intermediate lot zone, and this one you move to the corner lot zone. Okay, so let us try to go to the intermediate lot. So you will see the few things. This one back to the solid color, and this one in the opaque as well. If I open for the corner lot, and then you will see corner lot in the solid color. The remaining for the intermediate and also for the end lot, it will be in opaque color. It's not a solid color, right? Okay, so from here, you know that we actually already modified the zone, okay, to the zone that we wanted. Okay. Okay, so area asking a question. Okay, change zone for the ground level only. Can change the zone for the multiple floor. Right. Yeah, even if you actually have complete for the other floors, right? So take example, yeah. Okay. Take example, where we involve floors. Okay. Okay, for the modified associate zone, if you select the whole thing, okay, if you select the whole thing, and then you try to go to modify associate zone, you go to the intermediate zone. Okay, so it will actually prompt. Okay, because when we use the modify associate zone, it will be only able to modify the particular floors. Okay, as you can see, if I select for this whole piece, even though I select, I'm able to select for this particular ground floor and first floor. As you can see the model here. Okay, and I use the modify associate zone. But when I select the target floor and I select these floors, okay, I'm only able to select that identical floors. Okay, so meaning to say for each of the every floor you need to complete your model for the first original model, and then secondly, you're not able to modify associate zone for the ground floor, first floor, or even second floor if you have, because when we come into this select floor target, you're only able to select for one particular floor. Okay, for one particular floor. So you might need to go back later on. You might need to go back to your roof beam floor. Okay, roof beam floor levels. Okay, and then you need to copy, and then you modify the associate zone again. Okay, that will be the method for it, right? Because of this modify associate zone. Okay, for the intermediate, I choose for the roof beam floor. Okay, so that will be the case. Okay, so because for the modified associate zone, yeah, we know that we not able to the total modify the whole floor to another zone, because you need to do it floor by floor. Yeah, Adriel, in fact, it's actually you are raising a very good concern about this. Right, I will write that down and then feedback to my product team for this also. Okay, in fact, if you want to just modify associate zone, can I just modify associate zone for the whole floor instead of floor by floor? Thank you, Adria, as well. Thank you. Right. So from here, look at our 3D. Okay, we calculate it. Right. So after we done calculation, we back to the view quantity by category. And then we see focus on the wall, for example. Okay, so from here, if you can see from the view quantity by category and the site classification, I open my zone and then I move my zone up. Then you will see the first one, the first reading, I will have my end lot, my zone. Okay. And I have my floor levels. And I have my shared items. So you see the remarks here. So meaning to say for this particular whole bunch, it's actually an end lot. Okay. So for this whole bunch, actually my intermediate lot. And I have my corner lot as well. Okay. So from here, you are able to get the quantity. Okay. For the intermediate lot, for example, you get intermediate lot. Okay. It will be, if you look carefully, this will be the quantity for the in situ concrete. Okay, for the in situ concrete, for example, 12.864, and there's actually a shed one. The shed will be taking this 9.586. We need to divide by 2. It will become 4 point something. Okay, this one and this one. So for the intermediate lot, the calculation in fact is actually 12.864 plus my shared item, which is 9.586 divided by 2. Right, so this will be our correct quantity for intermediate lot. So it will be around about 16 point something. Okay, 16 or 17 point something meter cube for this intermediate lot of the in situ concrete. Okay, for the in situ concrete, 12.864 plus 9.562 divided by 2. Right, so that will be the situation. Okay, so you will have this. Okay, you have this segmented quantity, so you are able to from this classification, you are able to locate it nicely to segregate it so that you get the quantity whether there is a in situ concrete, and then in situ concrete for the shed, you will divide by 2. Right, so Adriel, yeah, I'm coming to that as well. Okay, do I have to export to Excel and do the divide 2 for the shed? Right. Okay, so say if you have if you want to get the quantity to put into the BQ, okay, it will come into 2 scenarios. First, if whether you have your TBQ or not. Second, you were using your Excel to all the BQ. Okay, if you're using your Excel for the BQ, you might need to export to Excel. Okay, the scenario I'm showing you, the first scenario. If you are plotting your quantity in your BQ in Excel, okay, for example this wall, okay, so you will see you can use the function maybe sum if, or you can use a pivot table to tabulate out all the quantities and then you put it into your BQ. Okay, for the shared item, let's say I know that the shared item for this will be divided by 2. Okay, so you have get this quantity and then you have this quantity as well, which is 12.864. So you will have you have a quantity for it, 17.297. Okay, that you can actually make the changes. Okay, you can actually put it in this way. Right. Another scenario is, let's say you have a TBQ. Okay, and we know that our TAS quantity is actually can be live linked to our TBQ. Right. So in this case, how we can actually do that? Okay, in this case, how we can actually do that? So allow me to open a blank TBQ. Okay, allow me to do so. Okay, so if you in ecosystem of the Cubicost that you having the quantity in the TS, you want to link the quantity to TBQ, how you can do it, right? So in this case, let me create a project, okay, to let you guys see. Right. So in this, okay, I'm going to have a perhaps I'm going to have a view element. Right. So I'm going to insert a bound column. Let's say I put it as a corner lot. Hey, sorry for that. Maybe this one is a corner lot. And then I have a intermediate lot. And I have another one which is my end lot. Right. So as you can see here, I have corner, intermediate, and also end lot. Okay, let me just check in everything. Right. So let's say I have a TBQ. Okay, when you see this is additional information if you're using TBQ as well to link your quantity. Okay, in the BQ, okay, I can actually open up my TBQ in my TAS as well. Right. So in this case, I will need to link my TBQ project. Okay, I need to log in my TBQ. Okay, so the operation for how to link the quantity for the TBQ will be in my TBQ, in your TBQ trainings, okay, the basic training. So I will just want to show you if you have a set quantity, how you can actually get the quantity in TAS and then you put it into our TBQ. Okay, it's actually project 53. I open the project 53, okay, as you can see. So I can see now I have my BQ item, I have my corner, intermediate, and I have the end lot. Right. So in this case, let's say I have I want to put for the wall items. Okay. So from here, the corner lot, I can actually just click on this view quantity by category, open everything. So for the wall, let's say I focus on the wall, and this is my end lot, right? This is my end lot. So my end lot, my wall, I can just drag the quantity, okay, and I have a shed unit, okay, for my ground floor. Okay, so from here, this 4.768, right? Okay, this 4.768 is a shed item, and I drag and I put it again as well. Okay, so from here, if I already, okay, if I click on the quantity here, I can see I actually have these two things. The first will be our ground floor concrete volume. Second will be a shed item. And how we know that it's a shed item, as you can see, I have a remarks here. It's a shed. Okay, so from here, I know that it's actually a shed element. Okay, and I have a factor for me to do the adjustment. Okay, originally is 17.632. I'm going to change the factor to become 0.5. Meaning to say it will be directly divided by 2, it will become 2.3. Okay, it will be 12.8 plus 2.3 only. Okay, let me just put it to 0.5. Okay, so it will say it will have a quantification of 12.84864 times 1, okay, and plus another 4.768 times 0.5, you'll get 2 point something. You get 2.3, and with the 12.8, and then you will have this 15.248, which is similar to this one. Right? So let me do another one, okay, to let you see, to have a complete one. Let's say the end lot. Okay, so for the end lot, I need to locate my end lot. Okay, so for my end lot, this one as well, I can put this 12.864 and also this 4.768. Okay, and the intermediate lot, let me check for my intermediate lot. Okay, for intermediate lot is also 12.864. Do I have any shed one? Yes, I have a shed. This is 9.586. Okay, so once we do it, okay, we need to check. Okay, the shed item, we just put it 0.5. And this one, intermediate, similarly, the remarks is a shed, put it 0.5. Okay, I have this total 48 meter cube, 15.248 for corner, 15.248 for end lot, and also 17.657 for intermediate lot. Right, so in this case, after we're done, I just click on check in. Okay, I click on check in. Right, I close my TBQ project. And then in my TBQ here, okay, in my TBQ here, you will find back all the quantity, 48 point something, right? So you will see. Okay, you will see from here, and then you will have a corner, intermediate, and end lot, and the quantity is being bring to here, the TAS. Okay, let me check on the quantity. So in the TAS quantity, I have this 12.864 and I have this 2.384. Okay, also you can also able to check on this TBQ. This 2.384, where it's actually coming from? It's coming from this 4.768 times be my factor. Okay, I have a total 15.248, and it's actually bring to here. Okay, you actually bring to this particular cell. Okay, then you can actually make use of this TBQ. Okay, in the BQ item, again, you can add the descriptions, and then you add the units. Okay, very important, and then you will generate your BQ accordingly. Okay, so there will be two scenarios. First, if you're using the TBQ, it will be the process that I'm opening, I'm creating my BQ, okay, my BQ element, and then my BQ item, and then I use the TAS to straight away times, okay, to straight away link to it to the TBQ, and I adjust it the factor, okay, adjust the factor. Or if you're using the Excel for the BQ, you can actually add the view quantity by category. View quantity by category. You set the classification and quantity nicely, okay, as what we set here. You set it nicely, end lot, intermediate, and corner. The remarks, the floor, the material, okay, as your requirement. Then you export to Excel. So once you export to Excel, you will have the information actually brought together to the Excel. So from here, you can make use, you can actually use, for example, you can use SUMIF, or you can use any other function, any formula in the Excel to get your quantity segregated out. So for the shed item I showed you just now, you will straight away get this shed item, you divide by 2. Okay, so you have the quantity for the corner lot is section. For the corner lot, the in situ concrete wall, it will be 12.864 plus 4.433, it will become 17.297. So this will be the approach for the Excel BQ format. Okay, for the TBQ BQ format, this will be, you link the quantity and then you adjust the factor to become 0.5. So you can get the shed quantity. Right, so that is the scenario that we are talking about. So we're back to the modeling, a little recap. Okay, very important thing is the fundamental concept that you need to make clear. Okay, we know that what are the model we want to model. Okay, so for the model, the first step, what we did is, okay, we have a model, a complete model for one particular lot. Okay, and then we use a function for the copy. We copy the whole thing by using the batch select. We select everything. We copy to the intermediate lot. And also I use the mirror function, the mirror to my corner lot. I'm not saying there is a need, for example, if you want to, for the corner lot, if straight away need to use mirror function. No, you need to refer to your layout. If your layout is identical, you use copy. If your layout is on opposite side, you will use mirror function, okay, to mirror it. Okay, remember everyone, once you do the modeling, okay, you need to make sure the logical way of buildings. Say you're doing the terrace houses. Impossible, you will have a shed wall with the window opening. Okay, those are the modification that we're going to perform. We need to check on um, logical the logicality, right? And also for this part, you will need to add for external finishes. This is the scenario base that we might be facing off. Okay, all your design, okay, for your life project, you will be facing different kind of design. Okay, not necessarily corner lot you will use mirror function. Perhaps maybe corner lot you can use copy function as well. The ultimate goals I would like to deliver is you can use the copy, you can use the mirror to complete the model. And last but not least, you for the shed item, remember to select the item and then put the remarks. Okay, the remarks, they will be the shed. So later on when we get the quantity, we know that there's a shed item, we need to divide by 2, right? So, and also in order to get the quantity segregation in a very good manner, for example, this wall, you have end lot, intermediate lot, and also corner lot. What you need to do, okay, you need to go to the project setting, the project information, the floor setting, you need to create your zone, right? And from here, there will be a habit, I believe, for myself, I also will have a habit that I just click on add. Okay, if you have already set for all the settings, for the grid settings here, you want every other zone to copy exactly the same, I will recommend you just right click at the end lot. Okay, you just copy and then you paste. Then all the concrete grade, all the information, the grade setting you change, it will be identical. Okay, if not, if you click on add, then you will see all the grade setting, perhaps all the floor settings, it will be different. Okay, once we create a zone, the very important thing and a very hidden function. Okay, sometimes I also will be missing out. Okay, it will be fall under draw tab. Whenever any other element you are selecting, okay, for the element tab, no problem, you will see there is an advanced. At the drop down of the advanced, there will be a modify associate zone. Okay, why you want to have modify associate zone is I'm going originally my model, everything is in end zone. I want my second part, this is my intermediate lot, right? I want it from the model from the end zone. I want to put it into my intermediate zone. I want the model for this end zone for the corner part. I want to put it into my corner zone. Then later on, when we have the quantity in segregation, we will have a complete segregation for us to get the quantity in different kind of lots of the terrace houses. Okay, so yes, do the modification associated by zone. So ultimately, the things that we will be getting will be a quantity. Okay, the quantity in terms, you need to set the classification by yourself as per your requirement. Okay, this will be a scenario based. Okay, you will see whether you want to, your BQ, you want to call it for the level by level or by material. Okay, you need to sort it out. Okay, from here you can actually click on the zone and then you move up or move down. Okay, and then in the BQ part, first in the Excel, if your BQ is Excel, you can actually export the whole quantity to Excel and then do the modification for the shared item. Second part, if your BQ is in TBQ, you can do in the TBQ, you link your quantity. So when you link your quantity have the shared items, you can. Okay, let me just check in. Right. okay, and the quantity detail. So you can change the factor to 0.5 because the item is being shared. Okay, the quantity will be divided by 2 as well, right? So that will be the whole things that the strategy that we actually need to be taking care of. Okay, taking care of for this kind of the landed project properties. Okay. Right. Okay, so that will be the operation that are involved. Okay, I summarize for that. Okay, that will be on the zoning, the copy function, mirror function, modify associate zone function, and also the remarks function. Okay, please make sure, and also the remarks function. Right, so these are the things that ultimately the quantity is being segregated out properly. Right, so come to a chapter 3, we'll be focusing on the TS TRB model exchange. Okay, so from here, the exchange of the TS and TRB, right? I mentioned previously, if you start from the TS first, make sure you set all the concrete grades correctly, because it will actually affect our TRB anchorage and lap setting. Because as per our TRB, the anchorage and lap setting is actually referring to our concrete grade. Different concrete grade have different kind of the value in terms of D, for example, 30D, 40D for the anchorage and also the lapping, right? So make sure when you start from the TS first, you need to have all the settings being done correctly. Make sure the names of the beam and structural wall are properly labeled, as we said, is very important. Okay, if you are in TRB, if you are using the beam schedule, you can actually directly synchronize the beam and wall schedule. If you have the beam and wall schedule for the reinforcement work, okay. Normally, let's say you have a beam schedule, notifying you that all the beams and also what are the main bar, what are the links that you will be involving. Okay, you can actually sync the information, okay, into a TRB. That's why the beam and also the structural wall name is very important. Okay, when it syncs, it will sync according to the beam names and also the wall names, right? Okay, comes to another situation. What are the conditions of initiating the project from the TAS or the TRB? Okay, the condition basically are the same. Okay, unlike TS C2 or TRB C2, okay, this is the one that just now I mentioned to you. Okay, C3 now can actually import and export the beam in either way. Okay, when we say the beam is in C2, we don't have those kind of the crank beam. Okay, those kind of crank beam in TRB. So when we start in TAS first, you will not able to get the beam element in TRB. Okay, so there will be some missing beams in TRB if you export to it. So in C2, we will recommend to start TRB first and then TAS. Right, so now in C3, it will be no longer the problem because in our TRB is actually fixed and we have the crank beam already. So now, whether to start in TS or to start in TRB first, it will be not a problem. Okay, you can start in either way. Right, when starting in TS, make sure you measure the structure based on the structure drawing, not the architecture drawings. Right, so for all the structure, when I mention the structure, it will be the column, beam, slab, wall, especially RC wall. All the information it will be structural drawing take precedence. For all the architectural works, for door windows, for finishes, for floor finishes, and for ceiling finishes, etc., for masonry wall, it will be under category for these structural drawings. Okay, you have to make sure for that. Okay, when you start in TRB, okay, there will be a drawing a sloping wall. Okay, it will be cumbersome compared to TAS because you're not able to align them, right? So in TRB, you will find lesser function compared to TAS. Say example, you will have a sloping wall, okay, and then you want to align the wall with maybe, for example, for the slabs example, okay. In TAS, you are able to do so, but in TRB, you need to change the elevation one by one. So there are the things that you might be lacking off, right? You may be lacking off. right? So for the summary, items to take notes for this kind of the landed project properties. First, the method of the segregation, whether you are still using the zoning or you are using the separate file. Either way, I'm not going to say the separate file will be wrong. It's not wrong, but we have another options with this throughout today's session. We have this zoning part. Okay, use the zoning part. Okay, you can get the quantity segregated in only one particular TAS file. Okay, you don't need to have the separate file, right? So might as well you have a try, okay, to come up whether which one is actually suitable for you, okay, for your operations, right? We have the flexibility to do so. Okay, second one, the shared entities use the remarks functions. Okay, use the remark to remark it the shared entities and divide by 2 in the Excel, or in the TBQ BQ item, you just change the factor to 0.5. Okay, change the factor to 0.5. Right. The modeling operation mirroring, or you copy. Okay, we will not copy the room, but we'll copy the finishes. Okay. Right. So for this one, okay, little things to let you guys see. So when just now I copy or I mirror things, right? So you will see I only have one part. I have all these purple color box. Okay, you will see this purple color box, but I don't have for this intermediate. I don't have for this corner, even though I copy. Okay, don't worry. All this line is actually our room finishes, our room entity. Okay, when you use copy or you use mirror, the room line it will be not copy, but the finishes it will be still stick to my parent entities. Okay, it will still stick to my parent entity. So don't worry that you will ask, hey Sam, why this room box, purple color box is not copied to the intermediate and also the corner lot? Is that the finisher is not being copied? Okay, the answer is no. Okay, the finisher is still carried along with your parent entity. Okay, so don't worry about that. Right. So last but not least, when duplicating the intermediate unit, need to delete the finishes on the side. Okay, as I mentioned to you, need to have the logical way to know that the fundamental structural, the fundamental frame of the buildings. Okay, to know that is that a common sense that if you have the intermediate lot, both sides of your wall will have the opening for the window. Okay, the answer is no. Okay, so we know that, then we need to delete the unnecessary. Similar to our finishes as well, right? Similar to our finishes as well. Okay, so this one is the one that just now I talked to you, okay, with or without the TBQ. So you can use the function, okay, you can use the quantity and then you can change for this factor to become 0.5. Right? Right. So with that, we are coming to an end for today's mini courses, okay, landed project management, okay, especially for these terrace houses. What are the information that we actually cater for? The information, the function that we cater for is the zone function. To segregate it by zone, the quantity will be segregated by zone. Copy, mirror, to copy and also to model the model in a different way. Modify associate zone to move the model to become individual zone, and also to put the remarks for the shared items. Right. So with that, that's all for our TS landed project training. Right. So as I mentioned previously, yes, for today's, suppose it's actually a hands-on training. However, my temporary license assigning platform, the system is actually having a problem currently, right? So what I will do is I'm going to share with you guys the recording, okay, and also the handouts and also the training material, okay, and also the temporary license. Perhaps I hopefully by late evening or tomorrow morning the licensing is being solved, then you can actually try on, okay, try on to practice on the exercise to see to revive back on the video, the recording video, okay, to revive back to make practice on it, right? So with that, we are coming to the end of the session. Okay, before we leave, okay, we have few things to share with you guys. The first will be the intermediate certificate applications, right? So for the intermediate certificate applications, as you can see, I believe most of you attended for the basic training, and you guys have the basic training certificates. And we know that the basic training certificates actually last for 2 years, right? So from here, as this is part of the intermediate kind of project, okay, at kind of the mini courses that we are currently having. So from here, I would recommend everyone, if you're interested to participate for this intermediate certificate, okay, intermediate level of certificate, please feel free. Okay, you will need to submit an actual project with a GFA of 5,000 meters square and pass an online evaluation of the Cubicost software. The validity is also 2 years. Okay, I would highly recommend everyone to go for this intermediate level of the certificates because first, it will be the added value to your own personal CV. Okay. Second, most of the company currently when they are hiring, they will look into some of the skill. What are the skill? What are the um, certification you're actually involving? Okay, what are the things that you're actually mastering of? Right. So this will be an added value to your CV ultimately. Okay. So if you're interested, I'm going to share you guys all the links. Okay, all the links uh, for the Cubicost certificate application and also the feedback form. Okay, please provide me a feedback throughout these sessions. Okay, so they can actually click on the links. Okay, so that provide me your feedback. Hopefully, I can know better what are the other element, other content you actually wishing to hear from, right? So all the links and also all the training feedback form links, example, and also the recordings, I will share to you guys later on after the video rendering is done, right? So please provide me your feedback. Okay, so click on the link in the chat box to provide me the feedback, right? Okay, so by end of today, I think I will send you guys all the video recordings and hopefully the license is being actively, okay, so that you can actually try on from your own. Okay, you can install your installer as well, right? Okay, so if you already done for the feedback form and also if you fill up for the certificate application, if nothing else, you may need a meeting. We're going to join the training as well, right? So we have a question, right? What if some of the element, for example, like the steel staircase, whether can I submit in the Excel form? Since so far TN TRB don't have the feature for it yet, right? So if this case, okay, for information for the steel staircase, okay, for the steel staircase is fall under category of a steel structure, right? Perhaps. So if you can see, you actually have a steel structure, you can actually make use of this steel structure for the column, beam, and also slab to model out your steel works, right? So as you can see for this steel composite column, okay, you can actually use for this steel column, okay, what are the kind? UC, universal column, okay, for the UK and also the Australia, as a CHS, circular hollow section, rectangular hollow sections, yeah, and then C channel, okay, and flange. You can use all this information, okay. This is the preset standard code and also the theoretical weight. You can actually come up for this one modeling, okay. You can actually use for this modeling as well, right? Um, the steel staircase, you can actually use this steel structure for the steel column, steel beam, and steel slab to do it. No problem. Okay, you can model out and you can get the quantity of it. Right. Okay. So also there we have another question for the modeling, whether I can choose one of the building that GFA more than 5,000 meters square under a project. Yeah. So for the let me go back to the slides here. Right. Okay. You need to submit a actual project with a GFA more than 5,000. Right. Correct. It will be under a project. Okay. You will be under a project more than 5,000 meters square. I believe it's not a problem if you are doing some of the project, for example, condominium. Okay. Okay. You straight away get a very lucrative amount of in terms of GFA. Okay. Don't worry. Be confident on that. Right. So if you have a project, okay, if you have a project less than 5,000, you said whether you can submit for the project the combination, the cumulative of the project. For example, 3 projects you submit that we have 5,000 meters square, also can be done. There will be not a problem as well. Okay, there will be not a problem as well. Another question. Usually the interview section for the intermediate certificate, right, it will be done in the weekend or weekday. Okay, in this case, for the intermediate interview, it's actually quite flexible, it's negotiable. If you're unable to go for weekday, okay, we can actually talk with our person in charge. He or she might actually willing to spend her own time in order to help you expedite the process for the intermediate certificate. No problem for that. Okay, whether is it weekend or weekday, there will be no problem. You can actually discuss in further, right? Okay, so for the intermediate, must be both TS and TRB for the intermediate. Not really. Okay, not really. For the intermediate, let's say you are expert in the TS, you can actually submit for the intermediate for the TS. Okay, no problem at all. Okay, there will be no problem at all, everyone. Okay, there will be no problem at all. If you want to go for the TS only, yeah, there will be no problem at all also. Right. So, Bun Xiong Yong, right? For TRB, how do we separate the quantity of the beam reinforcement for the horizontal beam that go across the multiple units? Right. So in this case, I believe this one it will be the ground beams, lah. Right. Xiong Yong. Right. So in this case, if you want to separate the quantity for the beam reinforcement for the horizontal beam, right? In this case, there will be first the things you need to make sure is what are the rebar input methods you are using, whether is it the rebar layout or you are using the site label or the beam schedule, right? So this one, if the whole beam is sharing for few units, okay, what I can suggest is you can get the total quantity and divide by the number of units in that sense, okay, in that way, okay. So it actually it depends on your beam design. If your beam design is actually really it stops for each of the units, then you will be quite straightforward. If it's not stopped, it's sharing for the few units, you can get the total quantity and then you divide it, and then you will have the quantity for that particular unit, right? Right, thank you. No problem. No problem. Right. So really, once again, appreciate everyone for today's attendance, for today's training, for this landed property management. Okay, my apologize once again for the temporary license. I'm not able to give it at the beginning of the session of the training. I'm going to sort it out from my side. I'm going to send you all the information and also all the links video recordings, temporary license, okay, to you guys to try on. Okay, I will state everything clear in the email address. Okay, stay tuned for that. Right. Hopefully by end of by late evening, or let's say 3 p.m., 4 p.m., I'm going to send you all the information to you guys. Right. So with that, we are going to adjourn our trainings. Right. Thank you everyone for today's, and stay safe. Right. Keep hydrated, everyone. Thank you everyone. No problem. See you guys. See you guys in another training perhaps. I will leave the Zoom session open until 11:50, right? Then I will end the sessions, right? Thank you everyone. Thank you for today's.